Abraham's story in Genesis 22 is often seen as the ultimate test of faith, a command from God that completely defied human logic and understanding, asking him to surrender what he loved most in the world, challenging us all to consider, what is our Isaac, the thing we hold most dear? Genesis 22 opens with God testing Abraham. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a burnt offering. This command is both shocking and heart-wrenching, as Isaac is the child of promise, the one through whom God had said Abraham's descendants would be named. There's no argument, no delay. Abraham rises early and obeys. His immediate response is a testament to his unwavering faith and trust in God, even when the command seems to contradict God's earlier promises. For 3 agonizing days, he journeys with Isaac, carrying the secret of God's command. Each step must have been filled with a mixture of dread and hope, as Abraham wrestles with the enormity of what he has been asked to do. At the mountain's base, Abraham tells his servants, "We will worship, and then we will come back to you." His words are filled with a profound sense of faith, hinting at his belief that somehow God will provide a way out. Even in the face of the impossible, Abraham clings to faith, believing, somehow, both he and Isaac will return. This is not blind faith, but a deep trust in God's character and promises. This is faith in action, trusting God's promise, even when the path makes no sense. Abraham's journey is a powerful example of what it means to walk by faith and not by sight. Abraham's obedience is immediate and complete. He doesn't hesitate or question God's command, showing a level of trust and submission that is truly remarkable. He doesn't try to reason with God or find a loophole. Instead, he moves forward with a resolute heart, trusting that God knows what he is doing. He simply moves forward, step by step, trusting God's character over his own understanding. Each step is an act of faith, a declaration of trust in God's plan. This is the kind of faith that God honors, faith that acts, even when the outcome is hidden. It's a faith that doesn't demand to see the end of the road before taking the first step. Abraham's journey up the mountain is a model for us all. It teaches us that true faith is not just about believing in God's promises, but also about acting on them, even when the path ahead is unclear. As Abraham and Isaac climb the rugged path together, the tension between them grows with every step. The air is thick with unspoken questions, and the weight of what lies ahead presses down on both father and son. Isaac, still young and full of trust, carries the heavy bundle of wood on his back. Abraham, his face set with determination, holds the fire and the knife, symbols of the unknown task before them. Each item they carry is a reminder of the sacrifice to come. As they walk, Isaac finally breaks the silence. He looks up at his father, his eyes searching for reassurance, and asks, "Father, where is the lamb for the offering?" His voice is gentle, but his question hangs heavy in the air. Abraham turns to his son, masking his own fear and sorrow. With a calm voice, he answers, "God will provide himself a lamb, my son." His words are both a comfort and a prayer, spoken with trembling hope. Deep inside, Abraham is wrestling with pain and uncertainty. He doesn't reveal the anguish in his heart or the true nature of the journey. Instead, he chooses to trust, holding on to faith even when the path is unclear. This is the essence of a father's faith, words spoken in hope, even as his heart quietly breaks. Abraham's love for Isaac is matched only by his trust in God's promise. Isaac listens and accepts his father's answer. He trusts Abraham completely, believing in his father's wisdom and in the goodness of God, even when he doesn't understand. Abraham keeps moving forward, step by step, his faith unwavering. He looks upward, seeking strength from the God he serves, determined to obey no matter the cost. Their silent journey is a powerful portrait of trust between father and son and between a man and his God. Each step they take together is a testament to their bond and their faith. Abraham's words echo through the ages, becoming a prophecy. God will provide. In that moment, his faith speaks louder than his fear. Together, they climb higher, not knowing how the story will end, but trusting that God's plan is greater than their understanding. Faith means moving forward, even when the answers aren't clear, and believing that hope can be found on the hardest paths. At the summit, Abraham carefully gathers stones, stacking them one by one to build the altar. He arranges the wood with trembling hands, each movement heavy with the weight of what he's been asked to do. The mountain air is still, and the silence is thick with anticipation. With a heavy heart, Abraham binds Isaac, his beloved son, trusting in God's mysterious command. He raises the knife, surrendering his deepest hopes and dreams, holding nothing back from the God he loves. In this moment, Abraham's faith is stretched to its absolute limit. Suddenly, a voice thunders from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy." Relief floods Abraham's face as he lowers the knife. The test, so intense and unimaginable, is over in an instant. God's intervention is swift and unmistakable. God never desired Isaac's life as a sacrifice. What he truly wanted was Abraham's heart, his trust, his devotion, his willingness to obey even when the path seemed impossible. Abraham's willingness to surrender everything, even what he cherished most, proved the depth and authenticity of his faith. He showed that nothing, not even his own son, would come between him and his trust in God. God's timing is always perfect. He steps in at the very brink, never too early, never too late. In the final moment, when all hope seems lost, God provides a way. The angel's voice rings out, "Now I know you fear God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Abraham's obedience is now complete, his faith fully revealed. The test was never about loss or pain, but about trust, about learning to place everything in God's hands, even when the outcome is uncertain. Through this act, God reveals the depth of Abraham's faith, setting an example for all generations to come. His story becomes a legacy, written for those who would follow. In surrender, Abraham finds not loss, but God's approval and blessing. His willingness to let go becomes the very thing that secures his future. The story's true climax is not sacrifice but rescue, a powerful reminder that God's love always makes a way. Faith is proven not when we hold tightly, but when we are willing to let go, trusting that God's plan is always for our good. Immediately, Abraham sees a ram caught in a thicket. God's provision right on time. He offers the ram instead of Isaac. Abraham names the place Jehovah-Jireh, the Lord will provide. God's answer was closer than Abraham realized. The mountain of testing becomes the mountain of provision. When we obey, God meets us at our point of need. The lesson is clear. God provides in the moment of surrender. Abraham's faith is rewarded, and the story becomes a promise for us all. In our hardest moments, God's provision is revealed. Jehovah-Jireh is a name to remember when we face our own mountains. After the test, God's blessing overflows. The angel calls again, reaffirming the covenant. "Because you have not withheld your son, I will bless you. Your descendants will be as numerous as the stars." The promise now carries global significance. Through your seed, all nations will be blessed. This points to Jesus, the ultimate fulfillment. Abraham's obedience unlocks blessing for generations. The test leads to a greater promise, sealed by faith. Abraham and Isaac descend the mountain changed, faith deepened, promise expanded. Their story echoes through eternity. Obedience brings blessing beyond imagination. The journey ends, but the legacy of faith continues. What does Abraham's story mean for us? First, obey quickly. Faith acts, it doesn't procrastinate. Second, trust God's character over your circumstances. When life makes no sense, believe in God's goodness and faithfulness. Third, identify your Isaac. What are you holding tighter than God? Surrender is the key to deeper faith and freedom. Finally, remember, every test is meant to become a testimony. God turns our hardest moments into stories of his faithfulness. Your pain can become a platform for God's power. Let Abraham's story transform your own. Don't just listen, let it change you. If this message encouraged you, like, comment, and share. Remember, the Lord will provide, even on your mountain.